Welcome back to the Can't Teach Taste podcast with your boys Matt Gannum and Todd Tomlinson. What's good, my man? How you doing?
Good, man. Nothing much. A lot has happened since we talked last.
Yeah, man. World Series, all kinds of NFL stuff, NBA, trades, injuries. We got a lot to chat about, man. Where do you want to start?
Let's get into the World Series because that was, look, I'm not like gonna claim to be the biggest baseball fan. Probably my third favorite sport to watch. I started watching it more in October, but fuck, I mean that World Series was like must watch TV, and it got to a point where it's like both these teams deserved to win. And man, I don't know. I just had that like nervous energy. I could care less who won that game. I'm a Met fan, really. I have a lot of friends who are Dodgers fans, and that's the home team because I'm from LA. But that was that was amazing. It just seemed like the Dodgers, anytime there was an important play, a big play, they made all the important plays at the right time. You feel terrible for Toronto, but man, that was fun to watch.
Yeah, man. That was crazy. Obviously, Dodgers were the favorites. Toronto had their chances, man. They did. I kind of wanted Toronto, although I just love Otani. The fact that obviously it's because he used to gamble, $50 million a year or whatever. So there's probably no way to get a rise out of that dude, right? Like he's
Yeah, right.
he's he's had the swings, but he's up there pitching, strikes out. He strikes out 2 out of 3 batters in the first inning in Game 7, and he doesn't even he barely cracks a smile. Like he gets up there, hits, gets on base, like he gets excited, but it's not like he's just. I enjoy just his mentality. He's not celebrating like they won the game when they didn't. But then you look at Toronto, man. First of all, as someone that's a pedestrian baseball fan, you know a ton of the names on the Dodgers. You almost know nobody on the Blue Jays. They play a good brand of baseball. What was interesting though is they did something in game 7 in the ninth and the 11th inning. They had a runner on third with less than 2 outs, which pretty much means bunt the ball or hit the ball in the outfield and the game's over or the game's tied in the 11th. And they couldn't do it. You check swing, hit the ball over the second baseman's head. Like that's it. It doesn't take a whole lot. Obviously, it's different. They have their best pitchers in the game. Their emotions are high. It's game 7. There's a lot of factors. But from an actual functional baseball standpoint, which baseball is the only sport that's sort of like an Excel decision tree. Like if you're on defense, all right, second, it's 2 man down, 1 out. You're the shortstop. There's a runner on first. If they hit the ball anywhere near you, you throw it to the second baseman. If it's deep in the hole, and since there's 2 outs, the second contact's made, the runner takes off, right? He's moving on contact, then you have to go to first. Every single time where to go. So it's not like you're playing basketball and you're like, all right, if the guy passes over here, this is what I got to do. But then it gets passed again, and it changes. In baseball, there's a pause. Everyone knows what's going to happen, right? You've known it since you were in 3rd grade what to do. And so I'm not saying that it still doesn't make the execution harder or easier, because it doesn't. But in that situation, there's a couple things you need to do. And they just didn't. And usually those are things that happen. I think if there's a runner on third with less than 2 outs, I can't even remember. I used to know the stat back when I played, but there's a pretty decent percentage that they score, even just by accident, right? Because a ground ball that isn't hit directly at someone, you can score. You can score on a base hit or any other hit, or you could score on an error. Or you could score on a flyout, right? Unless it's super short and the guy's running in and the dude at third's not fast, right? So there's so many ways to score, and they just did it, and they had the opportunities. And also the Dodgers with that home run in the top of the ninth. You know what I mean?
Rojas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. With 1
one out.
out, dude hits a home run, and dude, we were at this cocktail bar, took wifey out on a date night, and so it was like a little speakeasy jam, and there's no TVs, and so I was following her on my phone. She's like, "What are you doing?" And she was like, "Just put it on." So I put it on, and there's this table next to us, and I went crazy when he hit the home run. And I think I annoyed these people on their date, but they were pretty cool. But you gotta watch it, dude. That was crazy. I mean,
Yeah, man, game
that's
7.
historic, dude. Game 7, top of the ninth, keep your team in the game. I mean, you're most likely losing that game with
Of course.
runner on, with nobody on, 1 out. Top of the
Of
ninth.
course.
So it's even crazier that Toronto, got traction in the bottom of the ninth and in the 11th and couldn't do it. I mean, they were right there.
That's why you got to be sick, man. You're 2 outs away, nobody on. Rojas, I mean, ice in the veins, hits that home run, and obviously Will Smith hit the game-winning home run. But man, you're up 3 games to 2 going home. You just got to win, one or two games. And I mean, if you look at it, they had both games. They had control of both games at certain points, right? So they had their chances. But that's what great teams do, man. The Dodgers find a way. Every big play from that catch in the outfield to
Oh,
the throw from Rojas home to Will Smith where he barely got his foot back. They're just play after play that they continue to make when they need to make them. And you gotta give the Dodgers credit, dude. They
yeah.
were there's a lot of
Well,
times, man, where Toronto seemed and looked like the better team, oddly enough, when the Dodgers were heavy favorites. But there's a lot of times throughout this series where it's like, damn, like Toronto might be the better team. The Dodgers find a way, man. And
dude,
I,
bro, that center fielder, when they obviously, like, you're supposed to have communication in the
yeah,
outfield.
that's what I'm
Like,
saying.
it's
Like,
very
how do you
important.
communicate? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's like
Well,
no
you usually
communication, man.
usually someone calls it. Someone says I got it, or
Right,
someone says mine, or
right,
they call their number, or whatever the way is. The
of
left
course.
fielder who was like, obviously I don't know, he didn't look like he was going to catch it. You kind of think these idiots are going to run into each other and they're going to lose the World Series, but the center fielder came in like Ed Reed and just ran my
He
man
did.
over. And I mean, you make that dude the MVP, like,
Kike
because that
Hernandez was trying to do the Willie Mays catch over his shoulder. And
dude,
I
you're
was like,
not
he's not going
catching
to
that
catch
shit,
this.
dude.
No, it would have been like a crazy. I don't know, like his angle was off. He was trying to catch it over his head, over his shoulder. And the center fielder came in and made an amazing play. And Kike ran into him and almost knocked the ball out. It was wild. But I
Well,
mean, there's so many plays you can look back on that the
we used to
Dodgers made.
practice those growing up, and it's so hard to catch a baseball over the shoulder because the football is different. You have gloves on, it's big. You have your actual
Right.
hands to catch the ball
Two
versus a
hands.
baseball where you have a glove, a little ball, and you're trying to track it in the lights, and it's like white, which is different than a brown, ball in the lights. And it's just like there's so many factors. It's so much harder to catch a baseball over your shoulder, especially at full speed. Obviously, if the center fielder's not there, he has to try to catch it that way. But the center fielder just bulldozed him. I love that. And
Well,
that was
those
dope.
LA going crazy. Let me say this, man. Baseball, is in a good place. There's a couple of years where it was dying, ratings were down, but you got to give him credit. Rob Manfred, you got to give him credit for what they've done for baseball. I think speeding up the having a pitch clock and speeding up the games helps a lot. And I think obviously with you have megastars that are helping bringing more attention to the game, like the Otanis and the Aaron Judges, like the Big Dumper, your boy out in Seattle. But you have these superstars now, and the World Series and the playoffs were great. So it seems like the viewership is up for baseball, and I think the NBA's got to figure something out because now the NBA is in a weird spot. Um, Adam Silver's got to, I think change some things. That's a story for another day. But yeah, man, I think baseball is, kind of on sort of a comeback trail. It's in a really good spot. I think viewership is up, and they got stars and really good players internationally, obviously known folks. And yeah, I thought the World Series was great, man.
It's interesting too because they gave homeboy they got thrown out at home plate a hard time because they said he didn't come off third base enough, right? So you're taking a lead from third base, right? With two outs, let's just say it doesn't matter. You can't get doubled up. The second the ball hits the bat, you're gone, right? Just in case somehow it goes 2 feet, you want to beat the pitcher tossing the ball to the catcher, right? So he barely comes off first because the infield's playing in also. So there's a different dynamic there. The infield's going to play in tighter because they have to throw you out at home or else they lose, right? So they're not playing back, right? Because if there's a ball hit to one of their sides and they have to, run laterally and grab the ball and then turn, you're already home, right? So they're right up on the grass, right? So they're already on the grass. So if he hits a line drive, right, you just turn double play, that dude's out. So if you get doubled up on third base when there's only one out, essentially the inning's over versus giving somebody else an opportunity to get on base, right? That's worse than getting thrown out at home because at least you're giving yourself a chance. So they're like, why would he be taking a longer lead? You don't take a longer secondary lead when everyone's right up and the throw's short and you get doubled up easily. If you're leaning this way and the ball's hit snap to the shortstop and they flip it over there, you're out. So you could say that he didn't do it right, but I mean, you can't take any more lead than that because if you get doubled up in that situation, I mean, that's about as worst case scenario. I mean, that's literally the equivalent of being down by 8 seconds on the clock and you don't get a shot up. I mean, you just give yourself no chance to win. So they shouldn't give that dude or whoever's decision that was, or whether it was his or the third base coach or whatever. Like, you can't do much more than that because if you get doubled up there, I mean, the conversation is completely different than, oh, he should have had a bigger lead.
The base running was a big story. Even the end of Game 6, when the guy got doubled up at the end of the game, when Kike caught the ball and doubled him up at second base. I don't know why that can't happen either. So just some
That could have
errors
happened
made
in
by
that
Toronto.
case. Could
Right, in
have.
that case. So, I mean, in both games, there was, base running, I guess mishaps and mistakes that cost Toronto the game. And lastly, I mean, we got to talk about Yamamoto and what he did in that series. I mean, MVP, wild.
How's
That
it,
guy
bro?
is that guy is a monster.
You,
Two
you don't,
games, he was lights out and then comes in, after pitching the day before, and gives you three. I mean, he was just
dude. That's unheard of.
outstanding.
And obviously they would
Yeah,
do that with like Randy Johnson and some of the big arms back in the day because if you're a big arm, like you can throw and obviously you're not throwing as hard or whatever, but you can do it. That's still crazy, especially to perform that well. Yeah, but it still speaks to that lead off third base, for example. Baseball, nobody talks about it, but it's a sport that it has computer based outputs. There's a run. There's two runners on. There's a runner on first and second. There's two outs versus if there's one out or zero outs. What you do is different. You just have to execute it. And if the ball gets hit to me, this is what I have to do with it. You've known since you were a kid. All of these things are the same. You just have to execute. And that's why they call them errors. It's not an error if you drop a pass in football because you're running a route. There's defenders. There's wind. There's rain. There's a tip ball. There's all these things. You just get a drop. It's not a big deal. An error is a big deal because the ball's hit to you. There's no one around you. Like if the ball hits like a weird part of the dirt and pops up, they might not give you an error. But if it comes straight to you and you bobble it or you make a bad throw, that's an error. It's just very interesting how they look at it. It's because it's predetermined on what you need to do. There's no like, oh shit, like, oh, they're playing this coverage, this happened, so it changes the play. It doesn't work like that in baseball. Obviously, if the guy takes off and tries to steal the base, it might change what you do, but you also know that, and then it changes what you do and you make that decision. So, I mean, I wish I still I haven't watched baseball in years, but every single time I still know there's one out, there's a runner on second, you're up by three. What are you going to do if they hit you the ball if you're the shortstop versus the second baseman? Right? You hold the runner, you look at the runner, you can go tag him out, or if he gets stuck in the middle, then you get him. But if not, you throw a ball at first base and you move on. So, great World Series. I hadn't been excited to watch baseball in forever. It was awesome. You can't beat Game 7. You had an 18-inning game, and then you had Game 7 going to 11 innings. I mean, shit, it can't get any more
wow,
like,
cannot.
And then there was this dude, actually, I saw some Toronto or Canadian sportscaster that said the better team didn't win. It's like if it goes to 11 and seven games, right? How is the better team not win? It's not like they played 3 games or they played 1 game, you
Agreed.
know?
That's why in
Can't,
basketball and baseball, the best team's always going to win because you have to win 4 out of 7. It's not like, college football, or even the NFL where you have one bad day. You got to beat a team 4 times. So in baseball and basketball, the best team always wins. I don't care what you
yeah,
say.
yeah, almost always. I mean, in football, it
Hmm.
just takes a tip ball that gets picked for a touchdown. It changes the whole dynamic of the game. In baseball and basketball, there's nothing that can change one play can't change the dynamic of the game in that meaningful of a way,
And
right?
you got to
Even if
win
it's
four times. Yeah, of course.
yeah, I know. And you have home and away, and you have all these things. Like it's not like you're playing at a neutral, or you're playing at only one. Like it's like in football, right? AFC Championship game, Buffalo, Kansas City, like the game yesterday. Maybe that I don't think it determined who gets home field advantage to the playoffs. Because I think Buffalo will end up ahead of them. Maybe they won't, but maybe it determined home field between they play each other, and then that's a
Yeah,
huge factor in the game. Whereas in these 7-game series, is you get 4 and 3, but it's still very different than one. Um, and
agreed.
maybe so what a World Series, man. I didn't think we'd ever talk about baseball in here, but I'm glad that we had a reason to. Otani's a beast. Shout out to Yamamoto and those boys down there, man. I can't believe they did it that way because there were so many times where I thought Toronto was about to win that. So
Me too. Me
um,
too. It's Monday. The parade's happening right now, I believe, out here in
is
LA.
it?
Yeah,
Can't
it's
wait.
today. I'm safe. I'm safe
How do they do it
in
today?
the comfort of
They
my
were
home.
in
I don't fucking
Toronto.
know.
They
Yeah,
make
I
it
know.
back.
They were in
Yeah.
Toronto on Saturday. Now, even when I heard Dave Roberts talking after the game, he was
Oh, that
like,
was 2 nights ago. I'm
pre-flight.
tripping. Yeah, it makes sense.
But still, it's crazy. It's a quick turnaround. They're all the way in Toronto, and he's like, can't
And
see your
those guys
plans for
were
Monday. We
out
got a
till 8 in the
parade.
morning probably yesterday,
Oh,
bro. They're not, and
yeah,
they slept
of
all day
course.
yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they feel terrible, man. They're on adrenaline, but I know people are
yeah,
acting crazy. It's LA. They're gonna be doing dumb shit, but
yeah.
hope everybody out there is safe and having a good time at that parade. So, shout out to the Dodgers. Great end of the baseball season. And yeah, like you, man. I'm not. I normally don't watch baseball. Again, I'm a Met fan. I can watch in October, but this World Series drew me in, which is great for the sport, great for the game.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Well, let's get to the NFL. We're about. I mean, after tonight, we'll be at the midway point, give or take, of the season. So
Right there, dog. Yeah, yeah. What are
time's
you thinking,
flying.
man? So it is flying. There's a couple interesting things. Obviously, looking at that game yesterday between the Chiefs and the Bills, that's been the AFC Championship game for the last couple of years. That's always all eyes are always on that game. You got Mahomes versus Allen, and the Bills just look like the better team. But over the last couple of years, to me, the Bills look like the better team in the regular season too. It's just obviously getting it done in the playoffs, which Mahomes has had the Bills number for the last couple of years. But the Bills just look, I don't know, they just look better to me. Allen's a better quarterback than Mahomes in my eyes. It's great. I don't think Mahomes is that far behind. I think Mahomes is a great quarterback. Obviously, he's having a great year. He's doing a lot, but I don't know. I'd rather have Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, what was interesting is that first touchdown that Josh Allen ran in was the exact same play that they didn't give him the first down on, right? Last year in the AFC Championship game. But this time they reviewed it and gave it to him, but it looked exactly the same to me. So I don't know exactly what that was about, but I mean that should have ended the game for him last year. What was interesting is the Bills defense looks better than it. I've watched, I don't know, 4 Bills games or 5 Bills games this year. That the defense didn't look like that any other time. I mean, they were getting pressure. They were stopping, getting stops on third down, which they normally don't do. Usually, it's a exercise in how many points can the Bills score to win the game. So that was interesting to see. Obviously, Dalton Kincaid had a monster game. He's obviously the number one target for JA.
Help
So,
me with my fantasy game this week.
dude,
Shout out to Dalton
Kin-
Kincaid.
Kincaid went nuts, man. JA balled out. I would love for him to get some help. I mean, if we're talking about that game, obviously the Chiefs, I think they both need a little bit of help. If I'm the Chiefs, I go out and I get a running back. Maybe you go get your boy Brees Hall. I mean, that would be huge for the Chiefs. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, the Chiefs need a running
Um,
back in the worst way. In the worst way.
they do. I mean, Kareem Hunt hasn't been good in a long time, and he's playing because Pacheco's out, but Pacheco's not great either. They got the
Yeah.
young guy,
a
and they don't Brashard, whatever. They don't play him.
No. You need a receiving
So
threat too when you're playing with Mahomes, a running back that kicks the ball out the backfield, which should be Brees Hall. I don't want the Jets to trade Brees Hall personally because we're only going to get like a third or a fourth for him, and I say we just franchise tag him next year. That's just me, but I think both quarterbacks, I wouldn't say have the most dynamic, supporting casts. Decent, I would say. Obviously, Josh Allen and the Bills have an amazing run game. James Cook is, second in the league in rushing. So, anytime you have a good running game and Josh Allen's up there with his legs too, it opens up the passing game. You have, I guess, good enough receivers in Shakir and obviously Kincaid and guys to throw the ball to. But the running game opens everything up, and the Chiefs don't really have that right now, which is I think what the main problem is. But yeah, man, I mean, Cook's having a monster year.
uh, unless Buffalo could identify something on the defensive end, which I think they had two defensive linemen, or maybe a lineman and a linebacker, and then a corner come back from injury 2 weeks ago against the Panthers. So they're getting healthy there, which obviously maybe that was a little why they're a little more dynamic. But if I'm them, I'm getting any kind of receiver that's better than Shakir, so that you could move everyone down a spot. Even if you get Jacoby Myers, who I don't obviously think is great, he's probably better than them. If you make him the number one option, even and put Shakir at 2, and then Keon Coleman at 3, that makes them so much better. So whether it's him or go get Calvin Ridley if he's healthy enough, go get. I mean, any of these receivers on bad teams, like what's the point? Obviously to your point, you're not getting much for Brees Hall, you're not getting much for Jacoby Myers or Calvin Ridley or any of these guys, but you need to go get one of them because that's not Micah Parsons. Like this, even though they're not as good as him, this could put you over the edge if you're Buffalo or if you're Kansas City, man. A dynamic running back, even if it's a third round pick, who cares? You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to if you try.
Yeah, you're
If,
not mortgaging the future. To your point.
No, you're not.
Yeah, yeah.
Or if there's another hole that you have that we don't know, maybe there's some injury yesterday that just go out. You got till tomorroau. There's essentially 24 hours from now.
You got 24 hours figured out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So I don't know.
I
It's
would say
interesting to be. Looks like the Dolphins are sellers. The Jets, I don't know. The Jets kind of have stood pat a little bit. But I don't
take
know. What
Jalen
do you?
Waddle. Take Jalen Waddle from Miami and put him on Buffalo. See what I mean. That would be a completely
I
different team.
Look, I think they're listening to Jalen Waddle offers. I think it'd be less than likely if they trade him within the division, unless they get a great offer for him,
Well, I mean, they just
better
fired the
than what
GM.
Jalen
They're
can.
about to fire the coach. They're about to fire the quarterback.
Yeah,
What the hell's the
yeah,
difference?
yeah. I
You
guess
know,
I don't know if the current GM is just gonna have a fire sale. I don't know if they're planning on
I mean,
thinking they're gonna have the job next
he's
year.
got nothing
Maybe
to
they will,
lose.
maybe
No,
not.
no, I think they just fired the GM. So you got a new one,
They did
interim.
the assistant GM.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I don't know if the interim
yeah.
GM feels like they're gonna be around next year, or not.
I mean,
But yeah, we'll
probably
see. You
not,
might as well
but
sell everything.
you might as well roll the dice and see what you can get. Maybe you get a second round pick for him or something, and they're like, wow, okay, that's good because obviously, like, if you stay pat with the team you have now, you're going to continue to lose like you were before. What's the difference? You probably need to get a new GM and change anyways. So if I'm the owner, I'm demanding something. Like, I don't care. Like, maybe you come up with parameters for that dude, but I mean, there's so many things that could. I mean, a running back or a receiver for those two teams respectively could change the dynamic in the worst way. Because if the Chiefs could run the ball, it's like I think even though the Chiefs receiving core isn't much better than the Bills, it would change the Bills' dynamic to have Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and that speed. If you put James Cook on the Chiefs, I mean, dude, it would be, you know, so
Yeah,
be
yeah.
huge. And the Bills are even deep at running back because they have Johnson and they have Ray Davis, who James Cook
Ah,
never gets hurt, but somehow James Cook doesn't get hurt, even though he's little. He just doesn't.
it's crazy. Johnson, ex Jet, couldn't figure it out.
No, I mean,
Now he's
So
good.
let's
Now
move
he's good, of
into
course.
some of these other players like that. We can move into the midseason awards. Obviously, like
Yeah, let's do it.
MVP. I mean, there's a few
Who you got?
choices it could be.
Who you got? Who do you think is your midseason MVP right now?
I mean, maybe Drake May, maybe,
You
or I
got
mean,
it,
I don't want to
dude.
say
You got
Jonathan Taylor because the Colts are so dynamic and they're so deep. Obviously, he's having the best season of a running back, so Jonathan Taylor's up there. You could
he's
say
been
Daniel
great.
Jones, even though he looked like shit yesterday. Um, you know, you could. I mean, those
Man,
are all options.
Drake May, it's not crazy. I mean, he's fourth in the league right now in passing yards. What they're doing right now, only two losses, I believe. Are they 7-2? I'll have to
Hmm. They are.
check their record.
They are.
The turnaround so quick with Drake May. And you look at Drake May, and I would, obviously Stephon Diggs, but I wouldn't say he has the most dynamic cast of receivers either. He's making Booty and these other guys look like all pro receivers. He's good. It makes me sick because the Bills, it's wild. The Bills had like this 4 or 5 year run where they, hope should have capitalized. And now the Patriots are good again. The Jets have always been bad, right? And I hate to say it, right? And the Dolphins too. Now the Patriots, it only took them a couple of years. Now they have their guy again, and they have a great coach again in Vrabel, and they're figuring it out. So I don't think it's fool's gold, man. I mean, they could, fall apart a little bit down the stretch, but they have a lot of winnable games. And Drake May is balling. I mean, he's going to be a good quarterback for a really, really long time. So just the turnaround and what they're doing this year right now, I think you got to look at Drake May. I don't think he's a favorite. I think right now it's Josh Allen, and then I think it's maybe Jonathan Taylor and Pat Mahomes. I think if you're looking at the odds, I think Drake May might be third
Yeah.
or fourth. But
It's
yeah, I got
crazy
man.
work
You
though. Patrick Mahomes is 5-4, bro. Like, I mean, he's playing
yeah
well. He's dragging them along, but you're not the
yeah.
MVP. You're not the MVP at 5-4. Stop it.
Do you
You're
know
just not.
who a dark horse is? Is who's balling is Matthew Stafford, bro. He's got 21
Well,
touchdowns, two interceptions. He
your
is
boy said that in the NFL preseason thing. I mean, I'm high on Stafford, and
he's
now Puka's
balling.
back. And now Puka's
Hmm.
back. I mean, Puka balled out
Yeah.
yesterday, and obviously you have Devontae who had multi touchdowns yesterday,
Hmm. I mean, he's
bro.
got weapons, but still, I mean, Stafford
And they only
is
have two
playing
losses.
at a high level. They only got two losses, right? And not a lot of people are talking about the Rams like that. But yeah, he's just playing phenomenal right now. So I'd
They were
say
one of my sleepers. Honestly, like I knew they were going to ball out. I know that they would win the division because they have a chance. I think they're tied with Seattle. I didn't think
it's
maybe that, but I knew that they would be tough.
I think Jonathan Taylor is having a phenomenal year. I think a lot of what they're doing out there in Indianapolis is because of him. I think his ability to run the ball has opened things up for Daniel Jones. And I think but I don't see him winning. If Saquon didn't win it last year,
Yeah,
it's hard for me to imagine that they're going to give it to. Jonathan Taylor.
They give him Offensive Player of the Year, right? Maybe he'll win
Yeah,
that.
they give him
He
that,
could.
right? That's different. As far as MVP, outside of a quarterback, it's really tough to win that award, man. So I think, um, I don't know. Right now, my MVP would be, and I hate the fucking Patriots. I would say it's Drake May right now, and I'd say probably Josh Allen. Um, but let's see, dude. Yo, look, if the
A lot of
Baltimore Ravens
time.
go on a run here, if Baltimore Ravens go on a run here and Lamar Jackson, they rattle off because they have a lot of winnable games, and Jackson is
They
balling.
do.
You know what I mean? They'll see. You talk about most valuable. You have to look at him too. But I'd say those two guys. Unfortunately, they're both in our division, the AFC East. But I'd say that it's either going to be Drake May or Josh Allen right now. Probably Josh Allen
I mean,
is the leader.
well, one of the things for Daniel Jones is his team's stacked. Michael Pittman is a beast, and they don't use him a
Beast.
ton. He's a beast. I mean, if you put that guy on
Warren.
Buffalo, bro, put that guy on Buffalo. You got Tyler Warren, who they don't even throw the ball to anymore. They forgot he's on the team. Then you got Josh Downs, who's a beast, hell of a route
Alec
runner.
Pierce.
You put that dude, yeah, and Alec Pierce is their number who they throw the ball to the most, and then obviously Taylor. But if you put like Josh Downs on the old Belichick Bills teams, dude would have 1,500
Yeah.
yards.
Yeah, he's like he'd be the perfect player in that system.
Because
The
he's way more
slot,
athletic than the other guys that Belichick used. He's a beast.
Yeah.
He's a great route runner.
Yeah.
He doesn't drop the ball. Unless he returns a punt, then he lets the ball bounce off his chest, which he did yesterday, which helped the Steelers come back.
Bad loss, by the way. The turnovers,
Horrible.
I don't want to get into it. I hate seeing Aaron Rodgers winning games that he
He
shouldn't
didn't
be
really
winning.
do anything. Yeah, I
He
know.
didn't do anything. They turned the ball over. They win by one score, and I don't know. I think they had 6 turnovers. I got to look.
5 or
and see how
6 to
many
1,
turnovers.
I think. Something like that.
Yes.
It was bad.
Yes. So they gave that game up. Disgusting loss by the Colts. Can't happen. Probably not as bad as the loss the Bengals 2 weeks in a row. The Bengals blow it in the worst way. Flacco almost throws for 500 yards. They take the lead late in the game. Everybody's going crazy, and then you just let Caleb Williams and the Bears and Colston Loveland go down and score a touchdown. So I know the Bengals got to be the sickest fan base in the country right now after the last 2 weeks.
A weird take, though. I mean, obviously Burrow's a beast, but is Burrow really that good? If Joe Flacco could do the same shit and put up 40 every time, he's putting up 40 every week.
I don't know. I hear you, dude. I mean, Burrow is a beast, right? But
Of
when
course.
you got T. Higgins and you got Jamar Chase and Chase Brown, those dudes are getting open on every route as long as you have a comparable quarterback, which obviously wasn't Jake Browning. But if you have a decent quarterback, then get the ball out and give them a chance. I mean, you're going to put up stats and numbers, and that's what they're realizing though in Cincinnati. Like, you can have a prolific offense, but you have to have more. Like, you can't just like Madden it, like stack your team and pay 2 receivers top money and a quarterback and not have any good players on the defensive side of the ball. You have Trey Hendrickson, right? But aside from that, the defense is awful. You cannot win, right? So they're not building that team the right way. So with that being said, if you look at the way that the Bills are constructed, or even the Chiefs, you kind of got to do it that way. Because if you put too much money on the offense, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are going to lift the offense up. They're going to put points up. So you don't want to put too much money because you got to make sure the other side of the ball is comparable. And that's what you're finding with Cincinnati. It's not, and they're fucking awful. And it's I'm just glad I'm a Jet fan. I'm saying I'm glad I'm not a Chiefs fan right now. Because they have all this money tied up in 3 players and nobody on defense, and they're kind of in a weird spot.
Well, the Joe Burrow is one of my favorite players in the NFL, and so
I
don't want to be saying this, but I mean, if you're putting up 40, it's just like the same as Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow can't play defense, and it's like if you look at the Patriots, when they were constructed the way they were, Tom Brady never took max money. Outside of when they had Randy Moss, they didn't have any dynamic receivers. Obviously, they had Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, but you're not paying them like you're paying a Jamar Chase. So it's like, that maybe is the way. You shore up the lines, you block, you keep the quarterback. Because when was the last time we saw a quarterback that couldn't run be dynamic besides Tom Brady, right? And maybe Burrow a little bit, because Flacco and Burrow can't move their statues. But all these quarterbacks have a little bit of that, even if it's Drake May or Josh Allen that could get out of the way a little bit and extend the play, throw the ball away. Whereas if your quarterback can't, then it's a sack, right? Or a fumble or something. So you need a little bit of that. And obviously, to your point, like if Rashid Rice is your number 1 receiver or Khalil Shakur is your number 1 receiver, you don't have a lot of money committed to the position. You could shore up your lines and hopefully your defense, right? Because the running backs we know already don't matter as much. I mean, you need someone better than Pacheco, but you don't need Saquon Barkley, right? Because if you have a hole, then there's a hole. Obviously, he's going to do more with the hole than somebody else, but if you have a middle of the road running back and a good line, that's better than Saquon in the worst line. So, yeah, man, shit, dude, that's it. And maybe there is something to it, and that's the issue with the salary cap. If there's a luxury tax.
Yeah, you even think about the Patriot teams, with Randy Moss. They never won a Super Bowl with Moss. You know what I'm saying?
He wasn't there very long, but if before that, they run with Troy Brown, Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola. They didn't win with any,
And the only reason why we know Amendola and those guys, Edelman, is because Brady. I mean, if those guys, they're good football players, but they're somewhere else, we wouldn't know them. But Brady raised the level of play of everybody around him, just like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes does, right? So when you look at those teams, like, hey, this quarterback's going to figure it out. They're going to put points up. As long as we have comparable folks out there, they're going to be able to score. And we need to invest money on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive line and shit like that. So Cincinnati did it the wrong way. They have two of the most electric receivers in the league. Love watching them play. But if you score 50, it doesn't matter if the other team scores 60.
Yeah.
Usually
in the NBA, good offense will beat good defense. But in the NFL, man, if your defense is that bad, you can't win. You just can't
win. Nope.
And if our guy Allen, could insert the clip of T. Higgins running down the sidelines one-on-one yesterday, where he was behind the corner and he kind of went around him. And I mean, dude, if he's doing that, I mean, nobody's catching that ball. There's 5 receivers in history, or 10 maybe, that make that catch.
Disguise their looks. Only about 5 yards away from McPherson's field goal range. Flacco puts a man under it, far side. Higgins, just crazy catch. Sparrow, this is just nasty. That's just nasty work out there by T. Higgins. I don't even know what else to say. There's an incredible throw.
That was crazy work. I mean, dude, that ball should have been picked or knocked down, and he cooked it.
It's a great play. And you hear Chase Brown and Jamar Chase calling out the defense after the game. It's bad. And you see their faces on the sideline. They're just dejected.
They just know.
Apart.
You just know. And was it Hendrickson? They should just trade his ass, right? What's the point?
Yeah, they should have. They didn't want to pay him to begin with. It was the whole thing. Yeah, you just trade him and start over.
All right, so there is one coach that maybe should be fired more than your coach, and your coach should get fired bad. He should have been fired already. I want the Redskins to fire Dan Quinn for playing Jaden Daniels last night when you're getting blown out. The dude breaks his arm or whatever the hell he did when his arm turned sideways. You got to fire that.
Ridiculous.
Dude. Why is Jaden Daniels in the game? Your team's about to be 3-6. You're getting blown out. Your team's trash, and I think you have the Lions next week. And you're not making the playoffs, right? You paid Scary Terry, so whoever did that, all of these things.
We talked about that, didn't we? We called it. I said, you want to pay a quarterback on the north side of receiver on the north side of 30, that much money is stupid.
I mean,
stupid.
It's stupid. So they stink. They're bad. Their fans probably hate them. I know everyone in DC thought they were going to win a Super Bowl this year. Thought they had a chance. They don't. Maybe Jaden Daniels.
Quick. Fell apart quick. It fell apart quick because everybody thought they were going to be good this year. It fell apart quick, man. I feel bad for moms. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, she keeps texting me, "We're screwed. We're screwed." She doesn't know what else to say. I'm just dude. And I don't want to tell her maybe Jaden Daniels isn't the guy that we saw last year, because I did tell her going into the season that they had a whole year's worth of game tape on him, and someone that's mobile that they haven't it's different in year 2 when you have a year's worth of game tape on him than it is in week 6 and you only have 5 games plus college. And the same thing happened with RG3. He got hurt, got game tape on him. He gets hit a lot. He needs to work on sliding, dude. He gets hit a lot.
He's frail too, bro. And you brought up RG3, which obviously, that's scary. I hope for the Commanders fans' sake, that's not another RG3 situation, because RG3 was looking like the guy, and then injuries and everything derailed his career. But Jaden Daniels, man, he's just got a frail build, and man, injuries are starting to take a toll. So, I mean, hopefully for his sake, I love watching him play. I think he's a good player, but not good.
I mean, he was annoyed yesterday in the game, and so he kept running more because nobody could get open, right? So he's annoyed. He's running. He's probably he's trying to do something. I don't know what you're trying to do because you're not coming back anyways, but, you got a competitor out there. That's what they're going to do. the coach needs to protect him from himself. That's his job, you know. And luckily it wasn't his throwing elbow, you know, so it'll probably be fine. But he's probably done for the year. They're gonna, you know, they're in the Raiders sweepstakes right now, which is crazy to say, right? If the Raiders if they weren't completely incompetent, they would have the same record as the Redskins. But they're so incompetent they have to have a worse record. So, you know, I mean, that's a team that like literally should be. I mean, you got to get rid of Scary Terry. Trade him right now. Trade him today. Trade him today. Get that contract off the books.
Take that contract. That's the problem. I'm trying to look.
Take half of it. Take half of it and send him to Buffalo. Take half of it, dude. You do the David Justice thing where the Yankees are paying you $50 million to play against them, bro. That's what you do.
That was my.
You got to get rid of him.
I used to love David Justice in the Atlanta Brave days. Yeah,
I'm looking, man. Get rid of him.
You know, with the yardage, right now they don't have a top.
Well, because Debo's been hurt, Terry's been hurt, Luke whatever. McCaffrey hurt himself on the first play on the kick return or whatever it was, or punt
collarbone. He's out. Yeah, they don't have a top 50 receiver yardage wise right now, which is.
I mean, if Debo and Terry were healthy, they might be, but maybe not, dude. Because
they might be.
Honestly, the reason I wasn't going to draft Jaden Daniels at all this year in fantasy is I had him last year, and most of his production came from late game heroics, like 50-yard touchdown passes. That shit just you can't do that in the NFL consistently. That doesn't make sense. I wanted no part of that, dude, because I almost didn't even start him towards the end of last season when I was in the hunt for the playoffs, but I kept playing him, and it'd be bad game. He'd have 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, and in the fourth quarter he'd have 2 crazy drives and get to 25 and help me win, but that's not sustainable. Like, you don't want Mark Andrews, who has 3 targets for 2 touchdowns, because if he doesn't get a target in the end zone, he has no points, right? And so, by the way, anyone that trades for Mark Andrews in real life, which supposedly he's on the block, like, just don't. Just let him fucking stay in Baltimore, dude. Just let him fucking die. He's trash. His head's messed up, dude. He's Nick Anderson or whoever. You know, he's got the yips or whatever you want to call it. He's a bum. Just let him die. It's fine. Although I will say the only positive thing coming out of Las Vegas is Brock Bowers. I mean, might as well trade him for a whole entire offensive line. Trade him for a quarterback too. Maybe you can get a defense. But that dude, even though he's 22 with, you know, the hairline that isn't anywhere near where it should be for his age, bro.
Like he's 40.
Bro, he looks like he's 40, but he's
turkey, dog.
Cooking. Like, I mean, I watched, obviously I have Tyler Warren on my team. I watch him and I watch Brock Bowers, and they're playing 2 different positions. You can't even compare them. Anyone that says Tyler Warren's anywhere near Brock Bowers, they're out their mind. He's a beast. He's dynamic. He's multidimensional, but Brock Bowers is faster. He's bigger. He's stronger. He has better hands. Like, he's just, I mean, he makes plays. Like, it's like when Rob Gronkowski would catch the ball, stiff arm some dude to the ground, run, break a tackle, and score a touchdown. Brock Bowers is doing that in a different way because he's a little closer to a receiver and he's not as big. But, like, Tyler Warren's not doing any of that shit. So, no, Brock Bowers.
He's great yesterday. 3 touchdowns, beast.
150 yards or whatever. I mean, he made Geno Smith look serviceable, right? We know Geno Smith isn't the answer, and your team's now 2-7 or whatever the fuck, right? 2-6, 2-7, 2-6, whatever. Now it's time to start playing the young guys, which is why you don't sign Tyler Lockett. You let the 2 rookies that you drafted fucking play, right? And try to learn. Tyler Lockett, why? What's the point of signing a guy that's, you know, clearly past his prime to maybe win another game, right? So that tells you that Pete Carroll isn't going to bench Geno Smith, which he needs to. Even if it's for Pickett, because you traded a 5th-round pick for him, just see what happens. Let him play a fucking quarter of regular football, and if you don't like him, take him out. Or you trade for Anthony Richardson, right? Because Daniel Jones is the starter. They don't want Anthony Richardson. It was very clear.
It's a name to look for.
But either way, dude, you know, Brock Bowers was a beast yesterday. Hate to see Tucker Kraft tear his ACL also, having a fucking dynamic season for the Packers. Which, by the way, Jordan, the Packers stink, dude. The Packers stink. Jordan Love stinks. Those uniforms yesterday
sucks.
Those
what is he doing?
Uniforms yesterday were trash with the fucking fake leather helmets and shit, dude. Get out of here. You're bums, dude.
It's just
bums.
Jordan Love is holding them back. I think that he just does dumb things, man. You know, he'll play great, and then the next game he'll throw the ball into triple coverage 4 times, and you just wonder what he's thinking. He's just, I don't think you can win a Super Bowl with that guy.
Dude, the Panthers beat you at home. Like, get out of here. I mean, you're a lot. Yeah. Beat it. You know what I mean?
Him, C.J. Stroud, and you know they're kind of
CJ's
like
not it either, man.
They'll look right. They'll look good, and then they'll just look terrible. And it's like they look like they take a step forward, then they regress, and I don't know what's going on with those two guys, but they don't look good. The Packers are two bad losses this year, like inexcusable. I don't know what's up with those guys, but that was a bad loss yesterday.
And also, I don't care if they're 7-2. Bo Nix is trash. He's hot
I
garbage,
agree.
bro.
I agree.
Trash,
And I don't
bro.
agree
He's
with a lot of
trash.
the shit that you say, but I agree with that.
He's
I
fucking
think that Bo Nix
horrible.
I don't think he's good at all. I think Sean Payton's a great coach. I think lipstick on
Their
a pig with
defense is
Nix.
great, bro. Their defense is great. They've got some dynamic
Elite.
skill players. Yeah.
Elite. And I think Bo Nix is mobile. I don't think he'll make plays from here and there, but just hearing his name as being one of the league's best quarterbacks is wild. He's not. I don't think he's that good
No.
at all. There's
No.
20 quarterbacks that take over Bo Nix.
Dude, you know what?
So
Joe Flacco would have he'd be better. That Cortland Sutton would be cooking. All these boys would be cooking. That team would be they'd be a problem. Now you're like, oh shit, if you get to play Denver in the first round, dope.
yeah, you're
You know
worried
what I
about
mean?
the defense to your point. Like the
Yeah.
defense is elite. They're great. You know, Patrick Surtain's the best cornerback in the league. They have an elite level defense. And Peyton's a bright mind offensively. He's going to, drum some shit up. That's going to get them
Yeah.
some points probably, but it's not because of Bo Nix.
Yeah, I hate Bo Nix.
Sorry.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Hate to see, you can say whatever you want. Don't like him at all. I wouldn't want any part of him.
Nope.
So
Nope. I'm with you.
With those skill players, those lines and that defense, I mean, anyone's going to be successful almost. What else we got, man? We got a little bit of time here. I think we went through all the injuries and the crazy stuff. We'll see what happens, man. I hope Buffalo can get a receiver. I hope Kansas City cannot get a running back.
Because you don't like Kansas City.
No, I can't stand. I can't stand Taylor Swift. I can't stand Travis Kelce, and I can't stand Patrick Mahomes' brother. And at a certain point, Patrick Mahomes' brother is his fault, not his brother's fault. Right?
Fair.
Like you don't
I
see.
agree.
Like Book's brother goes to the Suns games. Nicest dude in the world. Doesn't do anything stupid. Never says anything. Never talks about how he's Book's brother. He's not posting videos and doing weird shit on Instagram. He's just being a normal person, right? And letting his brother go out there and get 30 a night. And Patrick Mahomes, between him and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, I don't want to see the Chiefs ever again. They can go, and it doesn't have anything to do with me liking the Raiders. I would hate them if they played if they were the Toronto Blue Jays doing that shit. I would hate it the same way.
So, control your family. John Morant, control your dad.
Dude,
his dad's control your dad.
I saw John Morant's dad last week, dude. He's always out there, dude. He just doesn't
acting crazy. Control your family, man. They're making you look bad. You don't hear
they
about,
might impact you getting a contract or a deal,
yes,
or a sponsorship or something.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Dude,
yes.
No
control
way.
your dad. Yeah, control him. It's fucking crazy. Your family members, your brother.
Book's dad doesn't even sit courtside. He refuses. He sits in the friends and family section behind the Suns bench, just like Steph's family. It's different, man. They're there for their kids. They're not there for themselves. And the ones who sit courtside and talk shit to the refs and the players, they're there for themselves, man. And that's not it for their kids.
Nope.
It's fucking crazy work, dude.
Amen.
So what are we thinking about the NBA? I'll say one thing real quick. Last night, Spurs came to Phoenix, full house. I mean, the Suns started Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen, Mark Williams, and Book, obviously, and who else did they start? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. They don't have Jalen Green. They don't have Dylan Brooks. And you're playing a 5-0 surprising team that's relatively healthy outside of, De'Aaron Fox. They have Kelly Olynyk undressed. They got our boy with the strap, Lindy Waters from the Warriors last year, sitting over there court. He kept the strap ready. I was like, yo, he'd come out here and give the Suns buckets in those jeans right now. And my boy that was with me was like, who's that, dude? You're out of your mind. And I was like, I promise you, that dude's ready. Put him in. But so obviously the Suns weren't, they weren't healthy. They're playing a Spurs team that's 5-0 that have dominated the NBA. Wemby has looked, like Giannis on steroids when he came in.
Mm-hmm.
And they played this defense, and it was interesting. They played a zone, and most of the time, Wemby, if you're 7'14" or whatever he is, you go to the middle of the zone right at the free throw line, right? They hit you with the ball. But, I mean, they were elbowing him, forearm, body into him. He just didn't like it, man. He did not like it. Every time he would turn to shoot, maybe give him a little tap in his chest and he kicks it to the corner. Obviously, the Spurs, I think it was Castle and Vessel, they hooped. I think they had 25 apiece.
Castle's
Nobody
great.
else, he's a beast. And he's the reason we'll talk about De'Aaron Fox in a second. But I don't know, because the recipe has to be physicality with Wemby. Because if you're going to let 100%. Him run in transition, he's going to cook, he's going to shoot. And so makes me think that young Shaq would have given him a hard time. That mobile Shaq, because Shaq would have beat his ass in the paint. And look, Wemby had a bad game. Everyone has a bad game. He had 9 points. He had a 3 late, mid fourth quarter that put him to 9. So he had a really bad game. I mean, Book had more assists at halftime than Wemby had points, right? So in the whole game. So maybe that's the recipe because I don't know.
It is.
I haven't watched any other Spurs games, but it has to be. But I don't know. People aren't doing it because he's getting 40 a night. So you got to do that.
You got to play. You got to play him physical, man. He's still young, and he's got a very frail body. He's got to put some weight on, but you got to be physical with him. If you let him roam around the perimeter, you let him get to spots without knocking him off balance or knocking him off the line to get to his spots. He's gonna eat you alive, man. So the only thing to do with Wemby is to be physical, right? He's so dynamic and he can beat you from the perimeter. He can do so many things, but you gotta body him up and have a bunch of people knock him off his pivot, knock him off the spots, and the Suns did that. And to your point, I don't know why more people don't. If he just roam free and flow throughout the offense and come off screens, get to his spots, he's just gonna destroy you. So bad game for him.
Look how they guard Steph. I mean, Steph practices with like these stretch bands on him where he's running and he's getting pulled back when he shoots jump shots because he knows, right? Also, what they don't have, and De'Aaron Fox isn't really a veteran. He kind of is, but he hasn't really done anything from a championship standpoint. Every time Wemby came off the floor, he had his face down, not happy, very visibly like, he knows he's getting his shit, kicked in, right? When he hit that 3, took them to like 16 or something like that in the fourth quarter with like 5 minutes left. And you're like, oh shit, maybe this person can make a run. After that, I think they came in, they fouled Grayson Allen on a 3, hit the free throws, book it at 3, game's over. They take the players out, right? There wasn't anyone there. He wasn't like the, Steph Curry, like, come on, boys, like, let's get this shit together. He's walking over, face is sad. He's a kid, They don't have any veteran presence there, man. And my suggestion is, I mean, they're obviously going to win a lot of regular season games. They're going to have a hard fucking time in the playoffs winning a 7-game series if they don't get someone that can fucking, like, get their mind right, get their shit right, could be a leader out on the floor. Because Wemby's a beast, but at least I didn't see it last night. He's not a leader. Like, you need a veteran player that can, like, keep them in line. Even if it's, like, Chris Paul would have been fucking perfect for them. Because he would have been like, stop crying, get your head up, get your head out of your ass, like, let's get out there. They don't have that.
You would hope it would be Harrison Barnes, but he's just not a vocal leader, right? He's a veteran. He's just not that. That's not
quiet.
Not him.
You know what Harrison Barnes does? Because they didn't play him at all in the fourth quarter, even during the comeback. He's like Gary Payton, where he sits on the bike halfway to the tunnel behind the bucket, and he sits on the bike, and they call him over to put him in the game if they're going to put him in. He's not. He's on the bike. He's not even engaged in the timeouts because he's on the bike. He's just quiet. He's a good player still, but he's not. He's not. I mean, Draymond isn't. What Draymond is, but if Draymond was there last night, he would have grabbed Wemby by his shirt and been like, "Dude, get your shit together." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I agree.
They need that.
They do. Because speaking of De'Aaron Fox, you're paying him all that money. Talented player. I love his game, but you have an embarrassment of riches at the guard position. I love Castle. I love Harper, the rookie. You're paying De'Aaron Fox a lot of money, and what you need from him is that leadership. But you got these guards on the rookie contracts. I would look to make a move there, honestly, unless you want to wait and see what he does when he comes back and integrate him into the offense. But you got so much talent right now, young talent. I'd look to move him.
He's taking the best player besides Wemby's minutes if he's on the floor, and that doesn't mean he's not better than them. But like, let the young guys play. You're going to win the games anyways. Get a pick and some veteran leadership, man. They need a real veteran, like a real player, not like someone that's actually going to play meaningful minutes and be like a quarterback on the court. They need that because, and look, maybe Wemby doesn't do that again, but my guess is if they're in the playoffs and they're playing a veteran team that's busting their ass, that's going to be his reaction. And if that's his reaction, maybe over time he'll, snap through that, but it wasn't even in his thought yesterday because it doesn't happen to him. He doesn't get his ass busted. I know.
No. And he's not mature. Not that he's an immature guy. He's just not. He's a young
kid, dude.
Still like
we were
kid,
like sophomores in college when we were that age.
Right. So, he needs that, so his maturity, isn't where it needs to be, as opposed to somebody who shouldn't be immature, like a John Morant or like an Anthony Edwards. Those guys are immature just to be immature. You know what I'm saying? And those are another story. You were talking about John Morant earlier. I think the Grizzlies have probably had enough at this point. Um, but that could be that's a whole nother topic. But I
But it
think
kind of
that
tells you that, though, right? Because they traded Desmond
yeah,
Bane, which means they weren't confident in the team because you don't trade Desmond Bane, who's probably, I mean, Jaren Jackson and John Morant are kind of immature, right? And they can hoop, obviously, but Desmond Bane's like exactly what the Warriors would want, right? So you trade him, right? You might as well
it's
trade John
wild.
Morant, too.
The issue with John Morant, honestly, is that as talented as he is, what is he? He hasn't gotten better in any facet of his game. He still
No, he's
can't
shooting
shoot at
15%
all.
from three. He can't shoot a lick,
At
and he keeps
all.
shooting.
Like, yes, he does. And he hasn't gotten any better, right? What he's been good at since he came into the league is what he's still good at. What he sucks at is what he still sucks at. That, in addition to all the issues he has off the court, immaturity, not a leader, now some of the stuff he's saying in the media, I gotta imagine that the Grizzlies are like, fuck this. Like, we're off of it. Let's see what we can get for him. We're not gonna win constructed the way it is right now. And you got to ask yourself too, do you really think that John Moran is a player that is going to be able to lead you as a number one to a championship? When's the last time a player, a point guard of his stature outside of Steph Curry, has ever done that as the number one player? And Steph
You
Curry's the
can't be
best
six
shooter we've
three.
ever seen.
You can't be 6'3"
And,
and win a
and, and
championship.
can't shoot and can't shoot. You know what I'm saying? And like it's just like a athletic. So if I'm the Grizzlies, I'm selling and I'm getting off of him. Terrible for culture anyway. Get his dad out the building. You can probably get a decent haul. Some team's gonna give you way too much for him. I think I think they will. My prediction that the Grizzlies trade Ja. That would be my prediction in this
They have
calendar
to.
year.
They have to. Unless you're
Yeah,
just going to finish around, a little bit below 500, not make the playoffs or make the play-in game for what? Um,
yeah,
I guess the last topic, real quick, outside of the fact that the Warriors, I mean, you're winning all these games and you lose them at the end, like losing that game to granted, look, I mean, Ryan Rollins hooped when they lost to
he
Ryan
was
Rollins gave
great, man.
30
They got a
against the
player in
Bucks
him.
with no Giannis, though. Bucks with no, yes. And Milwaukee's a problem.
Yeah,
But giving a team their first win with no players, the Pacers, obviously, like some of these guys were playing well, but the Warriors, I mean, they lost that game. They were up 10 the whole fourth quarter. They weren't even playing great. Like the fact they were up 10 is even crazy. So hopefully, I think Steph said after the game, this is like one of those moments where you got to look in the mirror, and they needed that because that was horrible. I'm glad they didn't win that game by 1 point. I'm glad they didn't barely win that game. Maybe one of the shots goes in or doesn't, and they win. I'm glad that didn't happen because they needed that because it was coming anyways. If it wasn't Indiana, it would be the next bad team they play that does that to them. So, I'm excited about that. Hopefully they'll turn it. But your boys, man, obviously LeBron's still hurt from playing golf. I don't know what he's doing. But,
this guy.
AR-15 and Luka are the only players on your team. Ayton had one good game, maybe two. Like even last night when they won, they play essentially six guys, right? Or seven, and that's it because LeBron's not there. Everybody else, they don't want to play any of those other guys. I think Bronny had some minutes. He's so bad. He doesn't deserve to be on an NBA team.
He had a great play last night, man. Cue the clip of Bronny catching an alley-oop last night.
He caught an oop.
It was nice.
That's a great.
It was nice.
I mean, I guess, but like almost every player in the NBA can do that, though. Like,
you think?
Catch an alley-oop?
Bronny is athletically an NBA player. Skill-wise, no, but athletically,
and he's too small and he can't shoot. But whatever, right?
Yeah. Boston Reese's ball, and he's averaging 31 right now, and Luka is averaging 41.
Beast.
So they're playing great, but they have nobody.
They have
outside
no help
of them doing anything. So
they can't win a playoff series like that, but it is fun to watch.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. Yeah, I agree. But Luka's averaging 41, 11, and 8 on 55%.
What did we say? 35, 12, and 8 or something? Like I think we said that. I hope if he averages 40 for the regular season, that'll be crazy. I don't think he will.
It's must-watch TV. Luka is just phenomenal.
LeBron comes back. If he does, he'll balance them out a little bit. Yeah, they're not going to be average.
He will.
Yeah,
but the Lakers can't win to your point, they don't have enough. It's AR is playing great, Luka's playing great, Robbie is actually playing pretty good. But
here's the biggest risk that the Lakers have as a team. Obviously, LeBron's going to be gone, whether they win or not, doesn't matter. Their biggest risk is that they're about to have to give Austin Reeves a max contract.
Mm-hmm. You got to figure that out. Someone is. If it's not them,
100%. But if I'm them, I would extend him now if you could not give him a max. Because if you wait till the offseason, you want to sign Jokic or Giannis or whoever, you're going to pay Austin Reeves the same as Giannis Antetokounmpo, and you have to. If
I agree.
if LeBron doesn't play and this dude keeps averaging 28 or whatever, I mean, you're paying
I've
his
always
ass
said
50.
this, even with like the Jets and in football, get ahead of it, man. Fucking get ahead of it. Restructure contracts, like get ahead of it. When you wait, when players are on the rise, it's just going to cost you more. And then other players are going to get contracts, you know, and it's going to keep going up. And then the bar's set and it's set higher.
Yeah.
You just gotta pay them. But
And
at this point, Austin Reeves might be like, "Fuck it, I'm going to wait."
yeah, I mean, and they know. Well, Lakers know if LeBron's coming back or if they're going to trade him or whatever. Because if
Yeah,
you're
they
going to
know.
trade LeBron and you know that you're not getting an immediate impact player, let's just say maybe you're getting a couple bench players and some picks. I don't know what you're getting. And Austin Reeves is going to remain prominent. You need to pay him today. If you think LeBron's coming back and he's going to play, Austin Reeves is going to average 18 points once LeBron comes back and he's ball dominant and he's being LeBron, and maybe the team's better for that. But if LeBron doesn't play, you're giving him $50 million a year, and that significantly handicaps your team. Because Austin Reeves is great, obviously, but he's not winning a championship as a number 2, and you're going to give him a max deal. Impossible. You couldn't put him in any situation where he's the second best player and they're going to win. They're going to win playoff series. You're just not. Can't guard.
Depends who else you got on the team. Yeah, you can't guard.
Huh?
Offensively, I think he's
great.
A number 2.
He's great.
Yeah,
he is. But
I think he's number 2 offensively.
I mean, you think? I mean, maybe. I just don't
know. It depends what you got around him. It depends what you have around him.
If you put him in OKC, maybe he's better than Jalen Williams while he's young. So maybe in that situation.
Because anytime you say a number 2, we're always referring to the second best player offensively, not the second best player on the team, which is interesting. Because you always say number 2, we think of scoring. But the Lakers are so far away from having a roster that will be built in a way that can win with Luka and Austin. Because now, kind of to your point, you got a number 1 and a number 2 who are below average defenders, and sometimes Luka's unwilling. Like, I think Austin Reeves is a willing defender. He's just not athletic.
He's more like Steph, but less athletic, where he's actually trying to guard. Like the fact that Luka doesn't
and the
try
Warriors,
to guard. Yeah. And the Warriors are built defensively around Steph.
Elite defensive team.
Yes, their whole team is built, can guard. They're like they could still play defense with Steph on the court, but with Luka and Austin Reeves, it's tough.
That's a good point. So the Lakers got to construct it in a way that gives them help defensively. They're not set up that way right now, and they do have guys that can defend. No, then but you got to have guys that can defend and are somewhat of a threat offensively. Jared Vanderbilt is one of the worst offensive players I've ever seen. We watch him play, and I'm like, I am pretty confident that he's the worst offensive player on that roster. But you play him for defense, but he's not a threat. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I do think they know what they're going to do with LeBron, and maybe they know this year that maybe he's going to be.
They know that if LeBron's leaving, you got to pay Austin Reeves now. Maybe you get $10 million off, but if you let him do this for a whole season and he has a chance to go in on his own, he's getting some big ass offers, man. Somebody's giving it to him.
He is. And then who do you got, dog? And then who do you have, bro? You have Luka and who? That's the problem. So,
I mean, maybe you get Giannis or you get Nikola, but I mean, you need them. If they don't come, then it's bad.
Bad. You got it. Yep. Yeah,
well, I'm excited, man. Cool. NBA in full swing. We're like 2 weeks in. There's a lot of good teams that are outplaying where they should be. There's some teams that are struggling a little bit, but NBA is a long season, man. This isn't football.
Nope.
So NBA,
but football's halfway over. Football's halfway over. It's starting to heat up. NBA is getting going, and then college, starts tonight, and we'll get into that at another time. But it's great. It's ended a great baseball season, man. So, we got a lot to talk about coming up.
You heard it here. Bo Nix is trash.
Yes.
Chiefs need a running back. Bills need a receiver. Wemby, you need to hit him. Pause. I mean, you just got to, and see what happens. I want to see if the rest of the league will play that defense and see what happens. Because maybe that's how you stop him. He needs to get bigger. Maybe he doesn't. KD never did, but KD's way more athletic than him. So
yeah, he's
So, anyways, shit, man. I'm excited to see what happens this week. We got some big matchups coming up that we can talk to you guys about soon, and trade deadlines in 24 hours. So maybe we get to do an emergency pod if something crazy happens, man. Because in the NFL, big trades don't happen a lot, but there's some teams that are in need. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, maybe we'll run one back on Thursday, depending on what happens in these next 24 hours.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
Bye.
Well, appreciate y'all listening. Also want to thank everyone for subscribing. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers. So appreciate you guys, man. And I'll let Todd take this one, but there's one thing you can't do.
Can't teach taste. Appreciate y'all.
Peace.
Peace.